Hello again, this is Matt Stratz, and today we're going to talk about drafting in NHL. Now, it's been about a month since I did the expansion draft, and honestly, I haven't looked over this team. But a lot has happened, especially in the past week. Seattle decided to name her team the Kraken, which totally caught me off guard. I really thought it was going to be the Totems. So this team already aged well. So I'm really excited. I really want to do a video covering possible expansion draft options in and around the NHL teams. In reality, not in NHL, but we'll get to that at some other point. So let's dive in. Now, NHL started this drafting interviews. I've never quite understood it. Honestly, I've never done them. I don't know for sure if it helps your scouting team at all or not. Hopefully, once this video is out there, and by NHL 21, hopefully I'll still be making videos, I'll have a more definite answer. But for right now, I'm not going to do any interviews, especially for you guys, because that's just going to take forever. So the first thing that I like to do when I start the draft is make sure I have a good coaching staff, specifically scouts. Now, if you do the expansion draft, you're gonna just have a default set of scouts and see, like, I really don't have that good scouts overall, but for their specialty regions, they're actually pretty good rated. This is actually realistic, since, like, I could be an American scout and be a specialty in America, but I have no experience in Europe, whereas somebody who might not have as much experience as me, who's in Europe, he can tell me everything about any possible prospects there. So it's pretty realistic, even though it's kind of weird as you go down. Like, you see A+ for the QMJHL, even a D-, you get an A overall in the regions. I try to stay above a C if possible. I really try to get some A's in there, just because scouting is really essential, which is kind of cool that NHL 20 definitely did this. It definitely helps pay dividends, especially with my team. The further down you go as you start developing your scouting staff. So obviously I can't do it because it was the expansion draft, but if you're just starting out with another team, I highly recommend you go through your scouts and during one off season, and just, if you have to fire some, if you have to rehire some, you rehire some, and you try to mix it up and keep the regions a lot different, because it's going to help you in the long run. So I just wanted to touch on scouting briefly, just because of it, like I said, it's just really important when you're picking out prospects. So now that that's covered, we're going to go and look at our team's contracts. Now, I do this just to get a better idea of what's going on in my roster. I look at every single position. Now, drafting, I use it to try to build the team from within, especially just after expansion draft. I don't have enough players in my system, so I'm definitely going to try to accumulate draft picks if I can. With any trades, now, I highly doubt I'll be trading much during this draft. I really just want to try to show you guys my thought process. So centers, I have number 1 center in Duchesne, Broussard, Sorelli, Lindbergh. That's actually a decent center core so far. Go to AHL. Those are 2 perfect top line centers for your AHL team. So now we'll go to the left wingers. Lacking a top line left wing, even though you can argue David Perron is pretty good for that. Marcus Johansson is a good second line left winger, but his contract's expiring. That's not good. Michael Furland, if we can re-sign him to a decent contract, that'd be great. Brandon Leipzig, even though he's no longer in the NHL now because he had some heinous comments on social media about his teammates, I believe. But moving on, right wing definitely took a hit. Our top line right winger is Michael Furland. He's good, but at an 82 overall, we need. That's probably going to end up being our first round draft pick, is a right winger if there's one available. We're definitely going to need probably a second line right winger. So, man. And then we have no right wingers in AHL. So yeah, so I'll probably end up picking 2 right wingers in this draft. Defense, I'm pretty stacked. Now, even though I'm stacked on defense, doesn't mean I won't pick some. I'll probably end up picking some. Probably one. I'll probably save most of the draft picks, like I said, for my right wingers. Goaltending, if I can re-sign Robin Leonard, that'd be great. Markstrom, solid 85. That's a perfect 1-2 punch. Darcy Kemper, perfect AHL starter. So is Comrie, Lingwood. I'm set on goalies, but for every draft, you should definitely draft one goalie no matter what. Always assign one pick that you have to get a goaltender, because goalies are the most important position in hockey, and if you don't have good goaltending, you are not gonna make the playoffs. It's gonna prolong your rebuild as well, because if you don't have good defense and you can't keep the puck out of the net, you're always going to be at the bottom of the standings. So now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to assume I have 7 draft picks. So right from the get-go, your first 3 picks should address positional needs. So my first round draft pick will address my right wing need, since I need a top line right winger if I can grab one in this draft. Now, he might not be NHL ready, but he might have a high potential to get there. My second concern is probably my left wing core, or probably my centers, because that's a steep drop off from my center. So I'll put my second round draft pick towards the center. And then third, left wing, I'll go back to right wing, go to defense, since I can pretty much neglect it at this point, even though I might be shuffling guys around. Well, I'm not going to worry about it this draft. So if I did my math right, that's 1, 2, 4, 5 picks. I'm going to save 6 as a goaltender, and then maybe my 7th pick I'll take another defenseman just for the heck of it. Yeah, like I was saying, first, second, third round draft picks are purely positional needs. Then your 4th and through 7th round picks, always just make them depth pieces, so you can start stocking up on prospects and making sure a position is properly stocked. Now, like I said, my roster's kind of depleted, but the best roster I would have is having 10 centers, 10 left wings, 10 right wings, 14 defensemen, and 6 goaltenders, sorry. I think that's the best balance that I have made, and I think I expressed that in the expansion draft video I did before. It just makes things so much easier, especially when it comes to free agency after this. So I'm just going to advance this, and I think we're just going to dive into right into the draft. Let's see our trade block. Why not? And I'm not trading away any draft picks, so we're just going to ignore that. Yeah, assigning the trade block, I don't quite like it. I only use it when I want to get rid of contracts that I don't want. Now, after this draft and And while I'm doing free agency, I'm going to take a better assessment of what's going on with my team so I can edit that trade block and make some trades. But right now, I'm going to focus on the draft and let's get into it. Alright, so we are at 5. So, as you can see, your positional players are down at the bottom of the screen. It's pretty stocked up. I really don't think I want to trade anybody right now, to be completely honest. I got plenty of cap space. I have $20 million. Like, there's no really outstanding ones except maybe David Perron, definitely Michael Frolik. I might address during the off season. Brent Burns, for now, he's okay, even though that's not really a good contract. Tyus Ekholm is a steal. Muzzin, good. Gustafson, he's good for another 2 years, another steal. Josh Manson, okay. Larson is borderline. I might end up trading him. Goaltending, solid. So, I don't think I want to trade anybody right now and move up. So, what I'm going to do is just pretty much sim to our pick. Now, there are, like, gems that you can find in this. Like, your scouting team will say, like, oh, he's a gem, oh, he's a bust. It definitely helps. They're usually pretty on point with it. And this is my worst fear, is that we don't have a right wing to pick. And there's not even... Wow. Okay. So that's a pretty steep drop off. So, if you don't know, so these guys were pretty heavily scouted because they're in pure white, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. It shows like a chart. Now, how good your scouting department is enables, or pretty much you get a better, more accurate pick. So it's pretty high chance that one of the or both of these guys are elite. For defensemen, I try to go tall. They're both 6'1", which is okay. Offensive defensemen, I don't usually like. I usually like two-way or defensive defensemen. Let's see what their grades are. I definitely pay attention to this. Injury prone, okay. And AA, ooh. Yeah, so I definitely look at the scouting reports. Definitely have to do that when drafting, because especially here, I was definitely going to go with Bowen Byram, but I look at the drafting or the scouting report, and obviously Jacob Tanev is the best available. So I'm probably going to pick him. I know I'm going off the board with my right wing pick. I'm going to have to save it because there's no, like, it's, you get binds like this, and sometimes it happens in the draft, and you just gotta take what's best available. So, boom, right there, 78 overall elite offensive defenseman. Perfect. So he'll add to our core. Let's see, Capo Caco. Yeah, that was our top line right winger right there. Yeah. Oh well. So now, instead of addressing my centers, I'm still going to look for that right wing pick. So I'm going to send to the next pick. No trade offers. Shocked. And hopefully there's a right wing available. And there are. Even though there's a defensive lead prospect. Okay. So you got, oh geez, Vladislav Kalinin. That's a mouthful. 6'3", 212. Pretty good grades. And then Graham Clark is the second. Now, problem is my scouting staff hasn't really scouted them too much. But, so, he's a sniper. He's probably a grinder. So, I think we're gonna go with Vashoff Clint. He's big, which I like. He has pretty good all around, whereas Graham Clark is kind of not so well. So I think I'm gonna pick him. Hopefully he'll be decent potential. And he's not. Cool. So obviously that's gonna be something I'll keep in mind for my free agency. Is gonna have to definitely get a top line right wing right now, because just because our draft position, we kind of got screwed position wise. So hey, it happens. It's a draft. Some players don't fall into place, some others do. Like that defenseman, hey, he might be really good for me, and so let's go. I think I wanted my second or my third pick to be a defenseman, but I already picked that, so I think I want to go center. He's elite. Now there's possible goalies, but I'm pretty good for right now. I don't want to pick one too high yet because I'm not desperate. Goalies should only be picked with your first 3 picks if you're kind of desperate and you really need help. Right now I'm not gonna need help for a while, so I'm gonna still save that as a lower pick. So unless the scouting report says something else, I'm probably gonna pick Chance Kern here. Better all around player, and he's taller. I like size because for some reason in this game, if you get touched, you lose the puck. It's very frustrating. So look at him. And another top 9. And this draft is not very good. So now occasionally, depending on your trade block, you'll have either a lot of trades or where I'm at, not a lot. It definitely just depends on everything that you have going. So I picked a right wing, defenseman, center. I'm gonna pick a left wing right now, if there's one available. And of course I got right wings for 6'3", jeez. And then I'll save the next pick for a goalie. The weird thing is about goaltending, and I know I'm picking the left wing right now. I don't like 5'9". That's way too small. He's just gonna get barreled into. So I'm gonna pick Michael Tepley here. The one strange thing that I found about goalies in the draft is that I found a lot of elite goalies through rounds 5 through 7. It's really weird. The only downside is that they have a very low overall. They're usually in the 40s. That's why I try to save them towards the end, because even though, you're desperate for a goalie, you might draft a goalie with your first round pick, and he's absolutely nothing. But then you get to the 5th round, and you're like, oh, we got this guy, he doesn't look too good, and then you draft him, and he's an elite overall, and you're like, oh, okay. I wanted to pick a second right winger, but there's not even one. Oh, jeez. And I really don't like to go too far down the board here, just because you're losing draft value with your pick. I think I'm gonna go with another center just to be safe. Or, you know what? I do need defense. I do need a stockpile on defense, so I might do that. I don't have a lot of defensemen in the system, so that's why I'm going with these picks, because sometimes you can have a plan like I did with this draft, like I was saying earlier, and it just doesn't work out for you. Yeah, it's just somehow how it goes, even in reality too. Unfortunately, this is definitely not the draft that I wanted to show you guys for sure. But so here we go. Right wing. Hey, he's pretty decent. Gonna pick him up. And he'll be an AHLer. It's fine. Need depth. Perfectly fine. I really wish this kind of went with my game plan, but it's okay. And as you can see, like, your scouting department kind of goes along with the higher draft picks, obviously, because you get more value out of them. So as you can see, it's kind of depleted once you get to the 7th round. I'm gonna go out on a limb and get a goalie. Probably these guys are probably gonna go undrafted, and there's no reports on any of them. So So one thing that I haven't seen until now is this player stats and strength of competition. You might want to, that's probably a good idea to look into that, because strength of competition definitely does give away what your stats are going to look like for the goalies. I'm just going to pick him. Screw it. Fringe starter. Okay. That's not bad for a 7th round pick. Not bad at all. So yeah, so that was our draft. Again, I apologize. This draft definitely didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So, pretty much to summarize everything, drafting, you want to get your scouting system or your scouts all managed first. Most important thing, because without a good scouting staff, as you can see from my draft, you're not going to get good prospects. It's going to take probably a couple of years to play around with everything, and it's going to be hard to manage all the salaries, but it's better to do it. Then you definitely want to assess your roster, address your holes, your long-term holes. My right wing was a long-term hole that I needed to fill up. I'll have to do in the free agency, which is going to be my next video. Centers are going to need help on, and left wing eventually. Defense right now I'm good, goaltending right now I'm good, but I'm not going to completely ignore them. Even though you have good positions, you still got to stockpile those prospects, or else you're not going to build your team fast enough. And then make a game plan for your draft picks. First round draft pick is your dire need. Second round draft pick, second dire. Third draft pick, third dire. And then 4th through 7th are depth picks positionally. And you always want to pick a goalie. I cannot emphasize it enough. Make sure one of them is a goalie. Alright, so there's our 7 picks for the totals. So we're going to sim to the re-sign phase, and that's the draft. Again, I really do feel bad that this draft didn't go the way I wanted to. But we're going to take a real quick view at our contracts now that we have more players. Now our team's a little bit more realistic, and the fact that it's free agency, we're rebuilding, which is kind of what we want to do. So let's look at our depth. Centers are okay. It's just good to have a top line. Top line's always great to have. Left wing depth is pretty good for now. Right wing, I have to address that during free agency. So I might flip Michael Frolik for a pick. Defense set. I just have to stock up the AHL system. I'm really looking forward to Tanev. As a 78 overall already, it's good. Goaltending. If I can re-sign Robin Leonard, that would be great. I'm not going to offer him a contract because I'm going to save it for the next video. Going to save the next headache for the next video. So, I hope that kind of gave you guys a better understanding of drafting in NHL. Definitely by next, or hopefully I can send this through the next season with a more developed team. I can try to show you guys more of what I like to do. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what I wanted to say in this video. I think I've hit everything that I've had as far as the basics go. I really want to dive into advanced analytics with it, but I'll save that for another video. And like I said, we'll dive into free agency. Free agency's kind of, it's probably going to be a long one because you're re-signing your players, and you're also signing free agents. So, and that is probably the worst thing to do in this game. But yeah, so that's it. Like I had it before in the other video, I have the link to my website that I've updated with my drafting strategy as well as my free agent strategy. Even though I haven't covered it yet, I've updated it just so you guys can get a peek of what I'm going to be talking about. So the link is going to be in the description below. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.